Hello fans, welcome back to the Wrestling Wrap-Up. This is your host, the Megastar Austin Savage. What I'd like to do right now is answer 10 fan-emailed questions, 5 wrestling questions, and 5 horror questions. Round 1. Sam from Galveston, you asked, who did you model yourself after during your career? Nature Boy Ric Flair was a huge influence on me. Even in amateur wrestling, I used to woo at my opponents and the crowd at the shows, at the events, I should say. I liked Arn Anderson, Scott Steiner. I wore a Michigan sweatshirt for the first 2 years I was a wrestler to the mat, which nobody understood because, for fans that don't know, amateur wrestling is completely different than pro wrestling, and pro wrestling is looked down on in the amateur wrestling community. So me telling people that I was a Scott Steiner fan and I wore a University of Michigan Wolverine sweatshirt in honor of Scott Steiner, or the Steiner brothers at the time, was a huge slap in the face, and I didn't know it at the time. I was young. But anyways, there's your answer. Those were some of the people I looked up to. Round 2, Kara from Hendersonville asks, what goals do you have left to achieve in wrestling? Wow, Kara, that's an interesting question. And I actually asked myself this question after my last match. There really isn't anything left for me to accomplish, so to speak. No goals I've set because I don't know how much longer I have in the ring. So, and with the Achilles heel injury I have, I don't know if I will be returning to the ring. It's more important for me to be able to work my 9-to-5 job and provide for my family. But I would like to win another championship to make it an even 20, which means I'd have to lose the title. But anyways, that's my goal, is to win another championship. Round 3, Sarah from Hawaii asks, what is your favorite place to wrestle? In a ring? No, anywhere, really. There's no place that I haven't liked. I do like wrestling in my high school gymnasium. My old high school's gymnasium. It's just something about the atmosphere and the crowds that are there. Because they know me, but it was always my goal to go back and do a show there and to just basically give a big middle finger at everybody that said I couldn't do it, which I've done on several occasions. And every time I do, I send tickets to guys on my old wrestling team to show them what I've done. Round 4, Bruce from the greatest place on earth asks, Sting or Flair, who's better? Really? Seriously? Flair. Flair is better. In terms of world titles, charisma, longevity, star power. I mean, yes, Sting's a huge star, or was a huge star. Their match tonight on Impact was complete shit, and I hate to say that. There were blown spots. It was slow. Neither one of them knew what they were doing, I don't think, and I hate to say that because they've wrestled each other a million times. But Flair is better. In their primes, Flair was better. Round 5, and the last wrestling question. Wendy from St. Petersburg, you asked me, does Jeff Hardy deserve a second chance? Short answer, no. How many second chances does the guy need? Really? Seriously? And I understand he's going through personal demons and so forth and so on. He just recently got married, and he just recently had a child. He needs to settle down, grow the fuck up, and be a man and support his wife and his daughter. Plain and simple. Which is one of the main reasons I stopped. I mean, I never had an addiction to painkillers, drugs, or alcohol. But there were things that went on the road that I'm not proud of. And I had to step back and say, okay, I'm a husband now. I'm a father now. I need to set a good example for my children. I have 3 precious babies that look up to their daddy. And, I mean, how is Jeff Hardy, when his daughter's older, going to sit her down and say, yeah, Daddy went to jail for 10 days for drug possession, or whatever the charge he got charged with and, I guess, found guilty of, or plea bargain, whatever. He's going to have to sit his daughter down at some point and have that conversation. It's not one I'd want to have. Round 6, horror question number 1. Mark from Cleveland, you asked, Nick Castle or Taylor Mann, who was better? I assume you mean as Michael Myers. There were 5 people in the original Halloween movie that played Michael Myers, or wore the costume of Michael Myers. To answer your question, Taylor Mann hands down, because Nick Castle couldn't scare a 5-year-old. He's like 5'2" or whatever, and Taylor Mann is 7'2". That motherfucker's scary without a mask and a knife in his hand. Round 7, Beth from Iowa, you asked, who played Dr. Loomis better, Donald Pleasance or Malcolm McDowell? Don Pleasance, God rest his soul, I think played it better because it was original. Well, Malcolm McDowell did a great job as well. I would say Donald Pleasance did it better because he did it more. But they both brought different characteristics to the Dr. Samuel Loomis character. But to answer your question, Beth, Donald Pleasance did play the role better. Round 8, Ben from Sacramento asks, Michael versus Jason, who's better? Okay, this goes back to question 6 from Mark. Are we talking about Nick Castle as Michael or Taylor Mann as Michael? Are we talking about anybody that played played Jason before Kane Hodder or Kane Hodder? Because if you put Taylor Mann against any one of the little Jasons, I would pick Taylor Mann. If you're putting Taylor Mann as Michael versus Kane Hodder as Jason, that's a pretty good match. If you haven't been paying attention, Ben, I'm a huge Halloween fan, so I'm chalking this win up to good old Michael Myers. Linda from Texas, you asked, best remake of the big 3. Linda, you either don't watch the show or can't take subtle hints. Halloween was the best remake. Okay, in my opinion, Friday was good. I like the way they did it, the style that they used. I hated Nightmare on Elm Street. It was too slow. It wasn't scary. My wife hates horror movies. She likes to watch them, but she doesn't like all the blood and guts. She sat on the couch and watched Nightmare and didn't flinch once. Okay? And she's a huge Freddy fan. So, yes, personally, I think Halloween was better. And it's the only one that has a sequel out so far. I've heard they're doing sequels to both Friday and Elm Street, so we'll see. Round 10, final question. Tim from Hell, I hope you mean Michigan, asked, Crystal Lake or Haddonfield, which place is scarier? Again, this is a style question. I personally think that the city environment of Haddonfield makes it a little more scary because you never know where Michael is, what building he's in, what angle he's coming from. Crystal Lake, I mean, it's scary because it's at night and there's sounds and all that stuff. I personally think Haddonfield is scarier. Just personally, because I'm a huge Halloween fan. I did like most of the Friday films in the original series. And I didn't think the remake of Friday was all that scary. I mean, it was scary, but like the kills were like, oh, there's Jason. Look, Jason's going to pop out right here. I didn't see a lot of that with Halloween, where it was kind of a, where's he coming from, more so than a, oh, here he comes, he's walking right towards us. That kind of thing. So, that is 10 rounds with the Megastar. You can email questions to wrestlingwrapup@yahoo.com. Follow me on Twitter @ProudToBeStraightEdge. I will see you guys next week. I'm not sure if I'll be doing a video after the iPay-per-view tomorrow night or not. I'm sorry, Saturday night. I forget that it's Friday. And I'm not sure I'm going to get Night of Champions. I haven't decided yet. I will catch you guys at some point, and I'll do a recap of the iPay-per-view and Night of Champions. If I get Night of Champions, I will catch you guys next week. Thanks for watching.